Hello, good morning everyone. Oh, beautiful sounds. How are you?
Good, sir.
Good. Good morning Queensland and good morning Bundaberg, and today I'm at beautiful Mon Repos here in Bundaberg, and it's wonderful to see so many people out and about. Last night we came here to have a look at some of the turtle hatchlings, and what a beautiful part of Queensland. And can I urge families, if you haven't been here, please come here. It's an absolutely wonderful centre. I'm looking forward to having another tour through the centre after this press conference. But families, it's a wonderful experience, and there's so much on offer in the Bundaberg region. I'm impressed every time I come here. And of course, yesterday we had a very significant announcement for this region, for the entire region, $600 million into rebuilding our Paradise Dam. This is going to be for safety and security, and I know it's something that the people of the Bundaberg region have been raising with myself, with Tom and the relevant ministers, and I'm very pleased that that is our largest investment in water infrastructure in the state. And of course our total now will be $2.6 billion in water infrastructure. I'll give the COVID update first. I'm joined, of course, by local member Tom Smith and Tourism Minister Sterling Hinchcliffe. We have a tourism announcement to make as well, and then I'm happy to take any other questions. So if I can start with our COVID update, we have 6,902 new cases, including 2,935 positive rats. Now, the Chief Health Officer and the Health Minister will be standing up shortly, and they'll be giving some more detail about COVID in general. But it is my sad duty today to report that we have the largest number of deaths that we've seen during this pandemic. We have lost 24 lives over the last 24 hours, and I want to express my condolences to the families out there that have lost their loved ones. I can report that 16 were in aged care, and can I thank Peter Dutton for sending in the Defence troops to help out. This is an issue across Australia in relation to aged care, and it's great to see that support coming. So I do thank Peter Dutton for that. The Chief Health Officer will give more details, but these are people's loved ones. These are families that are going through a very tough time at the moment, and it is very difficult to announce these deaths each day. And I know all of Queensland would pass on their sympathies to the families. We have had 17,000 tests in the past 24 hours. The Chief Health Officer will go through the number of people in public hospital and ICU. Our numbers in ICU are around 44, 22 are ventilated. Now, in relation to our vaccine coverage, well done Queensland. We have hit that milestone of 90% double dose. Finally. It's taken a while, January and February, to get to that point, but I'm very excited that it's definitely now at the 90% double dose, and in fact it's 92.22% across Queensland with that first dose, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud that when the virus did come into our state, we did have our vaccination rates up higher than probably anywhere else in the world. So I'm very proud of that fact, and every single Queenslander should be proud. And in this region alone, we know that over 60% of people in the Wide Bay region have had their booster shot, which is excellent as well. Now, in relation to boosters, I've heard some commentary today about the vaccination rates for international travel. Let me say very clearly that Queensland will be keeping to the double vaccination requirement. However, unless ATAGI changes that to including the booster. So if ATAGI changes that, we will absolutely follow suit with Victoria. But that is not the case at the moment. So until I hear anything more, the double vaccination is sufficient. We know our tourism industry has been going through a really tough time over the last 2 years, especially those areas that really rely on international tourism. We know the Gold Coast, Cairns, and right across the east coast of our state heavily rely on international tourism. And the fact that in about 12 days' time, the international borders will be open for travellers that is welcome news for businesses that have really been struggling. And, you know, our government has provided $1 billion in support to the tourism industry during the pandemic to help them see their way through. I want to thank Queenslanders for getting out and supporting our tourism sector. Our Good to Go campaign was so well received. You know, having stayed overnight in this region, you know, there was not a lot of accommodation available. So obviously people are still out here exploring what wonderful attributes our state has. And of course, with the opening of the state borders, we were able to welcome people from all around Australia to Queensland. And of course, they're spending up big, which is good to see. Now, the tourism campaign that we are announcing today is is just the start. So this builds on our investment into the past, and there will be 2 campaigns worth $5.2 million. Our Days Like This campaign, everyone is very familiar with that song. That is actually now being marketed into New South Wales and Victoria. So once again, trying to draw those tourists up to Queensland. And look, honestly, perfect conditions like this, why wouldn't you come here? And now we're also going to be launching our Great Queensland Getaways, which is, of course, a national campaign. It'll kick off on Sunday, but we wanted to give a preview of it today. And, of course, that is going to be great deals across our state. I'm told it includes, like, you can have $1 breakfast on Fraser Island, wine and dine vouchers when booking a Gold Coast hotel. A 5th person goes free while kayaking on the Sunshine Coast. Virgin will have great deals, so airline flights, and Accor have accommodation deals from $119 a night. So that's going to be absolutely wonderful, and the Tourism Minister will give more details on that. And of course, today we're at Mon Repos here. 30,000 visitors were coming here before COVID. They were getting about 180 people each night during the turtle season. And I really want to thank the rangers. It was wonderful hearing from them firsthand. And the history of this region and the preservation is just fantastic. And that's why our government put in $17 million into this, essentially, Mon Repos, this conservation centre, so all visitors can learn more about the turtles and the nesting and the hatchlings that happen here as well. So I want to thank the rangers. It was great to catch up with Cole Limpus again last night as well. And, you know, it's such a beautiful investment to see that this is now open for the whole world to come and explore what the Bundaberg region has on its very own doorstep. So I'm very proud of that. So look, I'll hand over to the Tourism Minister to talk a little bit more about the campaign and Tom Smith, and then we'll move on to other matters. Thanks.
Thanks, Premier, and it is great to be here at Mon Repos with Tom and yourself, and to be able to be here during the peak of the turtle hatching season and seeing the great facility that educates and provides a great opportunity for people to have that turtle experience here in the southern Great Barrier Reef. But it's also wonderful to see firsthand the Gidgee Cafe in operation. Further over and above that contribution you mentioned in terms of the construction of the centre here, having the Gidgee Cafe, a Indigenous business supported through our growing Indigenous tourism infrastructure fund, kick off here, and over the course of this turtle season, I understand they're serving some 12,000 customers, and that's going to support local business and support this facility in its operation into the future. But this experience here is just one of so many experiences right across this region and right across the state that are going to be highlighted in our Great Queensland Getaway campaign, adding to the Days Like This campaign that you've made mention of, targeted into Sydney and Melbourne. We're also this weekend seeing the launch of the Great Queensland Getaway. It will take over some people's weekend newspapers right across southern capitals and indeed in Brisbane. We'll see in the Escape magazine, the lift out of the weekend newspapers, it won't just be a couple of pages of Queensland opportunities and Queensland experiences and Queensland destinations. It'll be cover to cover. But what that comes with is phase 2 of the Great Queensland Getaway is around further opportunities, further experiences, further discounts, thanks to a partnership between Tourism and Events Queensland and the Queensland Government and Virgin, Core and a whole range of local operators right throughout the state. This is delivering great opportunities for people to get more out of their Queensland holiday experience and support our tourism industry as it rebuilds. Some local examples, and Tom can go into this a bit further. I think he knows the people on the ground, but here in the Bundaberg region, I think this will see some kids staying free, 2-for-1 deals for tours, a whole range of opportunities that'll let people have more out of their great Queensland getaway, and those deals will be made available through those opportunities on the weekend. Get onto those weekend newspapers, check out queensland.com to find those deals and redeem them. Unlike previous versions, this will be unlimited. There won't be a limited let of life. People can go back and get more. So I encourage people to go and have these experiences and be part of it. But that's not the end. We are also, with, as the Premier's mentioned, the international, the borders being reopened by the Australian Government to international visitors and tourists later this month, next week. That allows for the opportunity for fully vaccinated visitors from across the globe to enjoy Queensland and everything it has to offer, including this wonderful region. We want to support that, and we're already stepping forward to make sure that we get that message out. So the Good to Go campaign that Queenslanders were so familiar with during the challenges of the pandemic is actually going to be taken to the UK and Singapore in the very near future. And we'll be ready to roll it out to other source countries as they become more possible in terms of two-way travel. That's a real opportunity, a real chance for us to tell that story that Queenslanders have got to experience over the past couple of years, tell that to the globe and bring people back to this region and make sure that they get a chance to get the opportunities out of it. Now, that Great Queensland Getaway, it's predicted that that'll see across Queensland some $4 billion worth of business generated in the tourism sector between now and June. We want to see that really help us get through what will be a challenging period off the back. This is usually a low season time for the tourism industry right across the board. This is that chance to inspire further travel and engage people into getting back and getting out right across the state, from across Australia, as we go forward across the world. Very pleased that we've got great partners like Bundaberg Tourism, and it's great to have Catherine Reid here as well to be partners in telling that story of our wonderful destinations and experiences. I might hand over to Tom to speak a bit more about that and the great opportunities that there are here in this particular region.
Well, it's wonderful to have the Premier back here again for a second morning, and of course to be joined by Minister Hinchliffe. And the Premier and the Minister are doing what tens of thousands of people do each and every year, and that's come to Mon Repos. It's an experience like no other in the world. It's a chance to get up and close with the turtles, and as I said, it's a wonderful experience. And that's what the Bundaberg region is all about. Whether it's having lunch out at Macadamias Australia like the Premier and I did yesterday, out there in the macadamia trees, or the agritourism innovation that is Splitters Farm. It's a great way to escape that concrete jungle in Brisbane and come on up to the Bundaberg region. And of course, the Lady Musgrave experience. What a fantastic experience that is. You actually get to stay out overnight on the Great Barrier Reef. That's something you cannot do anywhere else in the world except here in the capital of the Wide Bay. That's Bundaberg. So book the tickets for the flight, put the kids in the car, fire up the Winnebago, come and say good day here in Bundaberg. We're happy to have you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. It's wonderful to have the Premier and Minister Hinchliffe and of course Tom join us all here in the Bundaberg region on the southern Great Barrier Reef and to showcase Mon Repos Turtle Centre this morning. Pre-COVID, tourism injected $507 million of visitor expenditure into the Bundaberg region economy. And this Great Queensland Getaway, going on sale on Sunday, is a much needed help and push to drive bookings to our tourism businesses over the coming months and support regional economies like the Bundaberg region. People from all over Australia will be able to snap up Queensland Getaways with flights, accommodation, attractions, tours and experiences on sale, which we're super excited about. There's some fantastic deals available here in the Bundaberg region, as Tom and the Minister touched on, from 2-for-1 tour deals to Hinkler Hall of Aviation. Kids stay for free in our beautiful accommodations along the coast here in Bargara and close by to Monrepo. We've also got day trip available from Brisbane to the Great Barrier Reef with Alliance Airlines. So landing in Bundaberg, heading out to Lady Musgrave Island and Lagoon for snorkelling and reef exploring with Lady Musgrave Experience, and then back to Brisbane, in time for bed, all for under $500. And with the Great Queensland Getaway going on sale on Sunday, the 13th of February, it's just in time for those last-minute Valentine's Day presents that you may have forgotten. It's great to have everyone here today. Thank you.
Sorry, my question is on the dam announcement yesterday. The opposition has been quite critical. They did a patch-up job. What do you say to that?
Well, this is a time when our growers need politicians to get out of the way, and it's disappointing that the LNP want to do nothing but play politics.
Premier?
Yeah, sure. Yep. Any questions on COVID or?
I've got a couple of
Yeah.
questions. Firstly,
Yeah.
given we've reached that 90%
Yep.
vaccination milestone, will the unvaccinated be allowed into pubs, clubs? Is there any chance of that changing?
Not at this stage. I think it's really important that we continue to drive our vaccination rates, and Queensland is doing an absolutely extraordinary job. Don't forget, we've got children back at school. We're getting our children vaccinated. We need to make sure that all of our elderly get the boosters, especially in our aged care home. It's really important that they get their boosters. They're very, very vulnerable. So not at this stage.
And the military is coming into Queensland?
Yes, my understanding is that Peter Dutton has deployed the Defence Forces to go in and help. I think when you have in aged care, which is run by the federal government, when you have issues where staff are testing positive for COVID, the residents are testing positive, you need to make sure that people are getting the care. So I do welcome that decision today.
Are there any specific homes that you want, or facilities that you want to see through that?
There's a couple that have been in the media recently, but I'll let the Chief Health Officer go further on that. Yeah.
And Premier, on the integrity matter,
Yes.
on Monday you did say that some things could have been done better.
Yes.
Are we able to go into more specifically so that everyday Queenslanders
Yeah,
understand
sure,
exactly
sure.
what you meant by that?
Sure.
What could have been done better?
So what I've said on Monday is that people raised some grievances, and also they felt that they weren't heard. Now, as a result of that, what I did very clearly is that I asked my Director General to write to all public servants saying that they should be able to provide frank and fearless advice, and that they should also know where they can put complaints to. If they feel they can't complain to their supervisor, there are a whole range of areas across government they can complain. And if they do suspect something serious, of course those complaints can be made to the CCC. So yes, we do acknowledge there are issues, and we are endeavouring to fix them as quickly as possible.
Premier, are you releasing the State Archivist report into Mark Bailey's private emails, which he sent to the Director General?
There was an archivist report that has made a number of recommendations, and we have said as soon as we have clearance to release that report, that report will be released. I've given that undertaking.
Premier, we know the committee is considering a 5-yearly review related to the Integrity Commissioner, but why wasn't recommendations from the Brisbane review in 2019 about making that office more independent implemented?
Yeah, so look, that's a good question. I sort of touched on that the other day. And in relation to the UBRI report, that was done. It's a strategic review that's done under the Act for 5 years. Then it's sent to the committee. It's currently with the committee, and I hope the committee gives it serious consideration, as I expect it will do. Submissions have just closed on the 31st of this month, 31st of January. And then they will provide their report to Parliament, and of course government will take their recommendations very seriously. Now we have to remember this is a bipartisan committee. of the Parliament, and we look forward to them really assessing all of those recommendations that Kevin Yearbury made.
Do you acknowledge the Integrity Commission needs to be separated from the Public Service Commission?
Yeah, Kevin Yearbury actually said that as one of his recommendations. That's currently before the committee, and of course we look forward to what the committee has to say about that. I don't have any problems with Kevin Yearbury's recommendations in relation to the Office of the Integrity Commissioner.
What is your assessment of the integrity of your government?
I think, of course, we need to do more, but we've also done a lot of things over the years in terms of our political donations disclosures. We lowered that down to $1,000 when the LNP had that at $12,000. We've done real-time disclosures as well. So, look, I acknowledge that we need to do more. I absolutely acknowledge that. And my government works hard every single day in the best interests of people of this state.
Premier, what could your government have done better in this regard?
Like I said earlier, there were some people who said that they felt that they weren't listened to. And, I apologise if they feel that way. But we absolutely need to make sure that we have absolute confidence, and Queenslanders should have confidence in the robust checks and balances that we have. It's a very strong record of a Labor government that introduced the first committee of the CCC that has continued to provide a very valuable function in the exercise of its duties in relation to this state. There is currently a review of recommended by the PCCC in relation to their findings about Logan City Council that Tony Fitzgerald and Alan Wilson are working on. So we need to let them do their job in relation to that. But there's been a lot of bodies that have been set up, and they need to be robust, and where we can actually do more, we will. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
What extra incentives are you providing for small businesses to entice tourists and visitors back?
Well, our key role is in relation to supporting that marketing and activities, and that's where we work closely with across the agencies of government, including Tourism and Events Queensland. We work closely with the regional tourism organisations, and where we see the opportunities support investment in new infrastructure and new experiences. And that's some of those ones locally that Tom Main mentioned of are examples of ones where our growing tourism infrastructure funds have helped support new experiences, and that adds to the opportunities for local operators and extend stays. That's a really key part of what we try and work on, is to help give reasons for staying that extra night, which provides flow-on effects, not just for that single operator, but for the whole of the local visitor economy.
During the pandemic, we saw airlines cut flights to places like Bundaberg, Harvey Bay. Is that still going to be a challenge, bringing tourists here, considering some of those flights haven't been reinstated?
Yeah, look, the rebuild of the aviation sector off the back of the challenges that the pandemic visited upon it is probably the biggest total challenge, and that's a global thing, not just for regions like Bundaberg, but across the board. That's a big task. We've done a bit of work on it as much as we can during the impact of during the time of the pandemic with our aviation attraction processes and support for internal domestic flights. As we move forward, we'll move forward into a space where, in line with the track record that this government has of aviation attraction playing a role in supporting international and domestic routes, we'll play a role in working with airlines, airports, and the sector to make sure that we see those opportunities rebuilt.
The country has been given the tag Fortress Australia during the pandemic. How important is it that we try to reverse that before international borders reopen?
Yeah, I think getting out there and building the appetite that people have for travel to a wonderful, perceived as safe, open and sparsely populated destinations is something that's going to be very attractive internationally and globally. That's where this Good to Go campaign going in the near future into the UK and Singapore and other destinations in the near future beyond that will really be focusing on highlighting the experiences and why people want to come and visit the extraordinary array of destination and experiences here in Queensland. I think those concerns and issues around what the border arrangements were sometime in the past won't be relevant when people are making their decisions about where they want to, get reacquainted with nature and get reacquainted with themselves and friends and family. They'll be the things that will drive people's decisions around their holiday making.
Last question, please. I just have one last question for the Premier, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, Premier, councillors in Bundaberg on the Forest say their residents face higher rates of reduced services as a result of a Queensland Local Government Grants Commission decision to strip $4.6 million in funding from council over the next 3 financial years. They say they have wrongly been grouped with larger and more affluent parts of southeast Queensland where the needs are vastly different. So what's your response to that?
Look, I will actually ask the local government minister to have a look at that issue. It sounds like a serious issue, and he'll get back to you. Okay? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
The Grants Commission is actually a federal
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is federal. Yeah.
I'll just...
Yeah.